Hi, Mike Roman here. It's Tuesday, so it's Ask the Catering Guru. And thanks to, when do you hear this? Thanks to Nicholas Cage of the London Darbar Catering in London, England, for comments on my article on the driving force of a company. See, now we're international, which is very exciting around here, okay? So today, we're going to talk about kitchens and lawsuits. I need to offer a warning. I'm going to speak directly to the camera and to you face to face about stuff that most people just don't speak about, let alone think about. And this may be uncomfortable for all of us, including me, okay? So what about kitchens and lawsuits? Now, I ran a catering kitchen for 14 years in Chicago. Yeah, that was a long time ago, but correct kitchen procedures are pretty much the same now as a long time ago, and will remain so 20 years in the future. Sanitation is sanitation, okay? And lawsuits are lawsuits. At the core of what we're talking about today are the concepts of sanitation, image, cost savings, and lawsuits, okay? Now, lawsuits come in at least one or two categories, I believe. The real ones, where you cause damage, and the false ones, where people are just sort of faking it and making it up. Now, remember, in most lawsuits claiming foodborne illness, the courts and juries don't really need to see the weapon used or the evidence of stomach contents. It just usually is flushed down the toilet. So the whole case of foodborne illness in court revolves mainly around what was possible or might have happened to cause the real or false or misdiagnosed food illnesses. Now, from a professional point of view, there is no medium way to run a catering kitchen. It's either the right way or the wrong way. A kitchen needs to be ready to receive prospects and customers or health department inspections at any moment. It should be a showplace for your creativity. It's your stage for your culinary greatness. So start with just a kitchen floor, for example. It can be messy, cluttered, wet, or dirty, not to mention dangerous. So in my view, it all starts with the floor. Now, we know it's hard to maintain a floor, but it needs to remain clean, dry, and safe. Nothing else is acceptable or correct. So is there a schedule for floor policing in your company? How far away is the broom or mop? If something falls on the floor, does it just sit there till the close of the day? How often does the broom and mop head get replaced, which is another thing that lawyers look at? So if staff are eating or drinking while working over or around food, you will be found guilty or possibly creating an unsafe food situation. See, I warned you about this video subject. In my world and in the health codes of the majority of states, these are all violations and may cause foodborne illness. They may cause foodborne illness. They may cause foodborne illness, and that's what the lawyers need. Lawsuits, you face them, you'll lose image if you get yourself in trouble, for real or not, and eventually it puts companies out of business. So chances are, if you look around your kitchen, you will notice that the soap dispenser and hand towel dispensers often go empty, or actually are in non-working conditions. I'm dropping my voice because it's a very tough thing to talk about. In fact, many kitchen hand sinks themselves for hand washing are totally non-functional. What does that say about a caterer's professional concerns for safety? Can you see how this gives a plaintiff's lawyer an advantage? The real truth is that thousands of kitchens don't follow the letter of the law every day. Mine didn't. Yet, as an industry, we have very, very few problems, okay, with causing difficulty for people, and we just keep on going because, well, it's just never going to happen to us, Mike, okay? That's the logic, and that's the way I thought when I was a caterer. So what would happen if the airline industry followed the same casual attitude about knowing what was supposed to be and yet not really following through with compliance? I was sued successfully while I was a caterer. Yes, I was. I had no problem talking about it. And my insurance company needed to pay out a tidy sum all over the use of a single spoon. Was I guilty? I don't know. Yes, in the eyes of the law, it all dealt with kitchen spoons used to stir pots on a stove. The lawyers proved in court, they proved me guilty because of state law that all stirring devices and utensils remain inside the pot and not laid on the stove on a paper plate or whatever outside the pot between stirs, okay? Now, nobody had told me this was the case, but it was in the small print of the health codes, which I never read. Did you know that in many states and cities there are rules that food service workers cooking may not cook in the clothes that they wore from home because they might be contaminated? They need to change into other clothes once they get to your offices and kitchens. Oh, one more fact. The lawyers love to use this against caterers is the non-use of hairnets and covering of beards. They are usually required by law in most states. Now, some caterers require and ensure that all kitchen staff wash their hands as a group every 30 minutes. A bell rings and people stop what they're doing and wash their hands. Now, I'm not bashing lawyers, just reminding you that it could happen to you. Things like incorrect use, cleaning and storage of knives, causing possible cross-contamination, not having an established use of disposable gloves on everybody's hands, is a procedure that's a gift to a plaintiff. Not cleaning the fans inside your cooler and freezers results in extra power usage, and another thing that will be brought up in court. Lastly, there's the whole subject of temperature. It's not that you don't carry thermometers around the kitchen, it's that very often we don't use them, and we never write them down and record what the temperature is of a particular product, which allows the lawyers to have an advantage. Okay, well, I know this is never going to happen, might even be silly to some of you listening, but when the chips are down, it's best to practice correct procedures. My point is whether the codes are logical or not. When a lawyer in court asks you, hey, Mr. Roman, then it is possible that your spoon could have picked up some bacteria when it laid on the stove, so we could have sneezed on it, etc. You get my point. Google kitchen inspections in your area and see what they say. I'm really apologizing if this is too bumpy for you today or too personal. And I'm still going to end by saying it's still, a great time to be a caterer, okay? I hope some of you are still watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.